they had two things in common. Number one, they wore masks or a bandana to cover their face. And number two, they did not use a code or key fob to enter the building. Part one of my condo security series, we covered key fobs, remotes, and points of entry. There's really two ends of the spectrum here because let's face it, even controlling all of those things, it's really an ideal situation. Now, the layout is very important. On one end of the spectrum, you have the very ideal situation. I've been to communities where there's a gated perimeter, only one point of entry, and you're coming in through a guard or concierge. The same setup applies to a condominium building where they're only entering through the ground floor, and all visitors who are not residents, so we're talking about your guests, real estate agents who are showing properties, contractors, Grubhub, Uber Eats, anything like that, all of them have to go in through that one point of entry and they're screened through the concierge. On the other end of the spectrum, you have something that's not ideal. You have no concierge. Yeah, you might have a security guard, but they're maybe patrolling on foot. But you have all these points of entry. Gates could stay open, gates could malfunction. All of those things could go wrong. And in my own association, perpetrators had just followed in another car and we have it on tape. In other buildings, they either use a damaged gate or who knows, a resident might have just let them in and thought that they had lived in the building.
Even with the most strict controls over key fobs and codes, you still have high turnover from rentals, friends of residents, former owners that will know the code to get in. Then you have the codes that have been passed on onto DoorDash, FedEx, Amazon, contractors, real estate agents, etc. Even if you don't have a code or key fob, you can always just follow someone into the community. Car gates can often malfunction and just stay open all day. Pedestrian doors can stay open from damage or simply someone not shutting the door all the way. Sometimes, the residents themselves might put tape or something else in the lock to leave it open.
Unfortunately, my own association, which is a gated community, had 2 burglaries back in May. The way they got in presents the same kind of challenge to basically any condo building. Just using the small sample size of burglaries that I do know about, they had 2 things in common. Number one, they wore masks or a bandana to cover their face. And number 2, they did not use a code or key fob to enter the building. Now let's talk about some of the possible solutions. If you had an unlimited budget, you could think about something like a Las Vegas casino where they have all the technology in the world, all the security in the world, and with just their technology, you can bet that they have the best facial recognition software and they know exactly when there is someone who's on their Nevada Gaming Commission's list. If their face gets recognized, they're getting kicked out of the casino. So why can't they apply these kinds of security practices to condo buildings? Well, that technology is already there. Where they're finding ways to get the cost down. Now, there's something called smart event notifications. Very primitive security systems, like even your Ring doorbell system has this. You get a notification on your app telling you that there's someone at the front door and it starts recording. So why not do that for entrances and even the car gates? As soon as someone follows in another car, notify maybe even the on-site security. If you don't have an on-site security, maybe it notifies some of the board members. And if they see anything suspicious, they could go call the authorities. If you're in a condo building and let's say there's a door propped open, maybe put sensors there and it alerts your on-site security or the HOA board if you don't have on-site security. That way the security guards aren't just walking around aimlessly. They're either at a station where they're monitoring all of the screens and then they're having just smart mode notifications. You can imagine one notification telling them that, oh, there's a person with a bandana entering, and hopefully the camera is smart enough to capture that. Or there's someone entering with a mask, or even there's a car that followed in another car into the parking lot. These types of notifications would definitely help. That way, some of these big buildings don't have to go to 2 security guards. Maybe they just go down to 1 security guard and they're just monitoring things smartly.